If our private foundation records a deed for real estate in a different state than where ours is located, we believe that will effectively unregister the property in the county where it is located and remove it from the property tax rolls. Is that correct? Wondering why either state would permit to do this. Why does that work? Well, we never said it worked. What we said was, if you're going to transfer something wholly into through a deed of trust, number one, I know you guys, and I know what we did for you guys on the deed on the private side element. So you did a recordation of a deed with meets and bounds. That's land for valuable consideration by gold, by hand. So you took the Federal Reserve notes out of the equation. They're not a party to the transaction. And here's an important thing to understand. What you did was you recorded it in the county recorder's office. So you've got an original deed back, and what you're basically holding is a recorded deed or transaction from the county. So the first thing I would do is ask the county, because you recorded it fee simple, you didn't record joint tenants or tenants in common. And I know personally people that are recorded as fee simple on their land, and they don't have any tax rules. They don't have anything with the county. That doesn't mean a county isn't going to try to assess a tax on a piece of land that's locally recorded, but that's not your question. I'm just trying to give you a lot more insight to think this thing through. So number one, you're recorded privately. You're not registered because of the style of the deed. What I mean by style, you didn't use a legal description. You didn't use your registered organization name. You didn't use, meaning an LLC or your personal name. You didn't use Federal Reserve notes, and you didn't record joint tenants in common, and you didn't mail the deed, meaning from just all the tenants of private versus public. That's it. And so now on the private deed that you recorded and didn't register because of the style of the deed, like if you're registering it, it's plain and simple. You know, you're going down, and here's the nuances of recordation versus registration. You have a registrar at the recorder's office, right? And that's simply public and private. Registrar is somebody who doesn't know how to fill out a deed, and they do a legal description above land. That's territory owned by the federal government, and that's plain and simple. Joint tenants, you're a tenant admitting that you don't own the property, that the state owns the property, or maybe the bank at the time of that you have a loan. And so somebody that isn't recording a proper private side deed is actually registering their property by recording it, showing that we're handing you, the state, the property because of the style of the recordation. Do you understand? So what you have done is effectively record your property, and maybe the state has not moved it from the tax rolls, which is what you're saying. So the next question is, how do you get it private away from the county recorder's office from the standpoint of tax rolls? There's a bunch of different ways to affect that. Now, I've already discussed that and exhausted that in hours and hours of conversation. And that is not always an easy answer because of the different counties that do different things. And this is why we don't personally do it, because we'd have to go look up every statute in every county in order to figure out whether we're going to pull it out of the county recorder. Because you can, by the way, not record a transaction in the county recorder and keep the transaction private. So here's to your question specifically, but I'm trying to address more. Your question is, recording something in another county doesn't do anything as far as this county is concerned. Okay, so recording something in another county where you maybe are selling it to the foundation, meaning a private trust over here in where you're at. You make a sale, you do the private deed, and then you're saying record it in another county, and that's going to automatically remove it from the tax rolls. No. What I was saying is what I would do is I would put it in another county, in another state, or just in the public. Okay, now you can put something in the public in a number of ways, and then you serve the local county constructive notice. You will not be recording this or registering this in their local county. And to have the property removed from the county recorder's office, it is not your wish to record or register the transaction. Now, at that moment, there's any number of things that the county is going to respond with. Maybe they just simply remove it. That's happened. Maybe they simply say, no, you're not allowed to do that, which that nobody can force you to record or register or anything. I'm a real estate broker. That's one of the questions on the exam. So at that moment, you're going to be like, okay, the county is going to respond any number of ways. And this is why it's difficult to say, okay, what do we do? This is an hour-long conversation. Well, if they do this, we do this. If they do this, we do this. If they do this, we do this. And so we've addressed that. We'll send you some links that maybe you can answer each one of those specifically. But we don't know their response. And I believe you've already recorded the private side deed in the county. And I had told you before that you need to ask them to remove the property from the tax rolls as it is private, fee simple, and as it is a church, recorded as a church. And so those are the elements that you want to try first, and then get back to us on responses.